Hello there. Welcome. So I've got a few books here with me to learn how to draw for adults. This is specifically for adults, people that potentially want to take their work commercial, or you're looking to move beyond doing doodles and you want to potentially create fine art or whatever that is. These books are geared more so for adults as far as learning how to draw. And I want to say, I got my hands on this. Part of what made me really want to make this book review is I got my hands on this. And hands down, I think this book is absolutely incredible. So this is actually the ultimate Bargue drawing collection. So this is a French person, I believe, by the name of Charles, and if I'm pronouncing it right, it's either Bargue or Bargue, but let's just call it Bargue. I'm not French, but I'm going to try to pronounce it properly. So originally this was a book created by Charles Bargue, and it looks like this company has compiled them. And what I think is absolutely fascinating about this series of books, collections of drawings and lessons from Charles Bargue, is this idea that it does it without words. You don't need words. Like, look through this entire book. There's no words in here. That's how you know a lesson is good, because you basically go through here and you look at all these pieces and you just copy it. That's it. That's all this really is. Now, I don't know if the original version of this had words in it when it was originally written in French, but I'm absolutely blown away by this. So I've been doing some of these exercises myself just in oil pastel, and so these are all oil pastels. It's going to look a little different. These are eye studies. I've been doing all of these in oil pastel, and I've pretty much enjoyed the results. These are different faces, and then if you look deeper, these are oil pastel sketches. So not pencil or charcoal as is expected from the book. You can do it however you want, right? But this is a classical drawing course in the sense that it came out in like the mid 1800s, and from my understanding, basically uses busts, statues to come up with their designs and their training material. And basically you just work through these and you will come out a better drawer. So first and foremost, I just want to talk about this book. It's absolutely fantastic. I love it because it doesn't have any words, and it's like, hey, if you're somebody that loves to just dive straight in and just learn to sink or swim, then this is it. Just dive into the book and start drawing. Now, if you need a little bit more guidance, which I didn't start off with this book. I've been drawing for quite a while now. I start with like pretty much stick figures for warm-ups, and constantly moving to more advanced projects. Let's see. So more and more advanced projects here. As you can see, I've been drawing for a little while now. And I would say that I've taken a little bit away from all of these different books. All of these different books have given me some insight. I just wanted to share this just so you can get an idea of skill or whatever. And with that said, I've tried a few other books. I'm going to go ahead and review. These are some of the commonly recommended books. But I want to say this one I absolutely love, and more so because it's so simple yet so valuable. These simple sketches look very simple. It starts off with some basic lines, straight lines, corners, and then you round them out, and that's how you learn. And I find it very interesting because this really teaches you how to design a face, sketch a face. And what you're constantly looking out for is simply the line, the angle, and the length. And you're constantly just eyeing. It teaches you how to eye and keep an eye on proportions, lengths, things like that. And from there, you can pretty much draw anything, is the idea. So I haven't gotten too far into this, but I've done other books, and I plan to do this because there's not too much theory. It's really just dive in, start learning how to draw. Now, I'll review this one first. I haven't gone through this Bridgman's work too much. You'll probably hear his name. I will say that if you're just starting off, the language in his book can be a little confusing. So let me just read a little excerpt here. While the segments of any finger seen on the back are of different lengths, the pads seen on the palmar side are of the same length, including the pad of the base, which is part of the palm, so that the creases between them are not all opposite the joints. All right, so if I haven't lost you, you can get an idea of exactly what, like, this is so confusing, right? This is a really in-depth study of the body parts. You have to constantly flip back and look back at the references and read and review. So while these are some great lessons, while these are some great ideas and some very in-depth and in-depth drawings, I will say that Bridgman's work, when he discusses and writes, it is very confusing. So be prepared for that. But if you're open to just flipping through and seeing how his work is drawn, it's a good book. He has other books too, with perspective and other things like that. Let's see what's in here. Let me see what his other books say, just so you can get an idea. Is it right here? Oh yeah, so the Book of 100 Hands, Bridgman's Life Drawing, Pencil and ink, and we got 100 figure drawings. So he definitely does a lot of drawing. You can learn a lot from almost any book, but if you want to dive straight in and not get stressed out about language, this is it. Now, I don't know if you can still find the original, or if it has actual dialogue, language, or words, and this book just happened to take out all the words. This compilation, this is by a different company, obviously, maybe not so obviously, but not the same company that originally produced the book, because that was Goupil and C, which is no longer in existence. I think they went out of business in like the 1900s or something. So I want to do this book next, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain. And this is a highly recommended book as well. I went through it. I only got about halfway. And where I really got stuck with this book is that there's just so much as far as theory and explanation and things like that. So again, I'm a dive into the pool and get straight to it type of person. And what I will say is that some of the theory is helpful. Some of the ideas and explanations and introductions of why certain things should be tried out. Some of the exercise should be tried out, why it's worth it. I will say some of those explanations are very helpful because it's helpful to know why you're doing something, especially if it's a little bit unusual, like drawing something upside down or using a special tool or something like that. So if you need some more guidance, if you need a lot of guidance and you want to really study the ideas behind drawing, if you want a lot of different exercises to help you exercise your mind, this is a great book as well, but it won't get you drawing as quickly as this one. But I will say, if I was to take a book that helps me trust myself of how to see, how to interpret information, and how to start drawing right away, it would be this one. But if I want to absolutely start drawing right away and get some cool looking things, it would be this one. And what I mean by that is, this teaches you a very specific style, a very specific way of doing things. And if you copy that way of doing things, you can start to learn very quickly. But if you're thinking of more modern ideas and you're not necessarily confident in your ability to like measure eye proportions and just figure out different line lengths and all of that, and you need some more explaining and guidance, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain is absolutely fantastic. So here's another book right here. Now, Andrew Loomis has done a ton of books, and what I will say about him is he gets really down into the nitty gritty. Now, his has a lot of texts, but it's much more understandable than Bridgman's, I will say. and he goes over a lot of things at once, shapes, perspective, and he's got like 10 different books, which one might be about the head and hands, one might be about the whole figure, one might be about perspective. So he's got a bunch of books. They cover almost every topic of drawing you could possibly imagine, except maybe like abstract drawing. But as you can see, very in-depth stuff, shading, things like that. Now, hypothetically, in any of these books, you could really just jump in, dive in, and start copying the things that they're doing. But I could say that the text really can pull you out of it, right? Like it's almost impossible not to try to read the text. And although very helpful, good to get the basics, I will say that this book is helpful in getting you just started, helping you to start building that confidence real quickly. This book helps you, the Betty Edwards Drawing on the Right-Sided Brain helps you start to come up with exercises, build more confidence in your drawing, get some ideas for exercises and reasons for doing things. Bridgman, it's more of a luxury drawing book, like, if you're more advanced and you're just trying to improve your skills. And Loomis, what I love about Loomis is that he has all the different books that you could possibly get. He was a commercial artist, and at the same time, he also has like precise measurements for things. He gives it's very easy to read his work compared to Bridgman. But, he'll give you simple tips. Like, if you ever need to draw hands, just know that the hands pretty much close inward toward the palm. If you know like simple tricks like that, it can really help improve your drawing. So I'm doing the claws at you for a reason. So if you can just learn simple tips like, hey, if you draw the fingers and they're closed and they're grasping something, they go basically towards the center for the most part, right? If you're drawing the head, you're going to have the nose is typically about the same length as the forehead, which is typically about the same length from the nose to the chin. So, you learn things like that, and you can quickly start to learn how to design and draw faces. You learn those little tricks, and it becomes very helpful. So where this is different is, again, you're learning a very specific style. You're learning about like corners and edges and things like that. Whereas this one teaches you like the actual dimensions, like, the ideal commercial hand to body ratio is like, this goes to the bottom of a part of your body. Your fingertips go to the bottom of your part of your body. Your chest is one head length down. So if you really want to get into the nitty gritty in a simple way, the Andy Loomis book is great. And finally, I have a lot more drawing books, but I just wanted to review these really big ones, these really popular ones right now. And I will say, of course, get a drawing book from one of your favorite artists, Vincent van Gogh, for one of them. And now here's a funny treat for those of you that are still watching. So there's drawings in here in the Bargue course that you will find that I discovered that Vincent van Gogh actually gave as gifts to people, and he took them out of here. Maybe not this specific book, but he did take them out of the Charles Bargue studies, the Charles Bargue original book about drawing, lessons in drawing. And he copied a lot of them. It's supposedly said that he ended up going through this book like 3 times, or going through all the Charles Bargue plates like 3 or 4 times. So he spent a lot of time with that, and I just find it so interesting that maybe I should organize these books again. So I just find it so interesting to discover that at one point he was basically, I was giving him credit for all the things that he drew that came out of this book. I don't know if I can find a quick example, but let's go through this real quick. I'll share a quick example just so you can see what I'm talking about. But some of his early drawings and sketches, for example. Okay, so like these two sketches right here, in the top right here, I might be able to find them in here somewhere. Oh, okay, so he has credit. It says after Bargue. So it says after Bargue. It's great to be able to see that that credit. So anyways, the credit's right there. And here again, the daughter of Jacob Meyer after Bargue after Holbein. So that's pretty cool. I never noticed those credits before, and every artist is going to come out with their own version, but love that Vincent van Gogh had at one point studied this entire book 3 times and learned how to draw, and from there a lot of great things came to his art. But again, there's new ways of doing things. So this is again a more classical style. As you can tell, a lot of these designs come from like statues and things like that. So what do you want to learn to draw, right? Do you want to learn to draw houses? Then you probably want to learn perspective, and you just want to see pictures of houses. If you want to learn to draw the human figure, you can dive straight into this book without learning anatomy and do pretty well to learn how to draw, to become a better drawer. And although this doesn't have words, where I think their value really comes from is it starts really simple, of just getting you to look at straight lines, any or not even perfectly straight, but somewhat rounded lines, and it gets you to just start to look at their lengths and their angles and just connecting them together. It's absolutely fantastic. I love this book so much, simply because you're just not going to get lost in it. You're not going to feel frustrated reading the text and not getting what's being written, or feeling overwhelmed by over explanations in books. That can happen. And although, if you feel like you need more confidence, or you're just not simply getting some of the ideas, then I think ultimately this book teaches you how to see, how to interpret, how to find your mistakes and things like that, as well as all these other ones too. But with that said, this is a review on some great books to learn how to draw for adults. And with that, thank you for watching. Happy drawing, and wish you the best.